Good afternoon, everyone. We'll go ahead and get started in a moment. I'm just waiting for all the attendees to populate into the session. All right, the stream of attendees is coming into the Jumpstart Convention. I'll go ahead and get us started. My name is Jessica Vallelungo. I am the Executive Director of Quality Diplomas for the Louisiana Department of Education. And I want to welcome you to the 2021 Jumpstart Virtual Convention. More so this year than any other, the bonds we build with students and the skills and quality education we provide to them is vital. At the core of career and technical education is our role in ensuring that the next workforce is prepared for work or prepared to continue to the next phase of their educational career. Our work is a key element of our local economies. And today and tomorrow, we bring together leaders throughout the state to share how they inspire, innovate, and impact students and communities through their career and technical education programs. Today, it is my honor to introduce the State Superintendent of Education, Dr. Cade Brumley, as he provides introductory remarks. Dr. Brumley, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Jessica. I appreciate all of your work, as well as Mr. Bradford and the entire team over in career and college readiness. You know, I'm reminded today of a note that I received from a school counselor over the summer, and it was, just randomly mailed to my office. And I have taken that note and I taped it to my desk, and it says, "Don't adapt to the energy of the room. Instead, influence the energy of the room." And so I see that from time to time when I look down, and it reminds me that I have a role to play in trying to be positive and try to set a good tone despite a horrible global pandemic that we're all facing. And so I share that with you just because I want to encourage you to know the roles that you play and the approach that you take to the work are equally or more so important as you're engaging with students and peers and families every single day. Today, I've been inspired because I've had interactions with a number of different people, both educators and non-educators, and I was just simply struck by a number of these individuals because of their words, their nonverbal cues, their energy, their optimism, even their faith, and how they are just maintaining a positive attitude through this global health pandemic, and as we all, as a human race, work together to move through this. And so for me, that's just been a very cool experience today, to know that people are upbeat, that people are energetic and optimistic, and to be affirmed around the goodness of people and the impact that we can have on others. And so a selfish plug for my Twitter account at Cade Brumley. I just tweeted that out, as a matter of fact, because I was so struck by that today by a number of different individuals, and just wanted to share that with you because, our attitudes and our behaviors, words, both verbal and nonverbal, and our energy mean so much to those around us. So let me welcome you all to the virtual Jumpstart convention here today. Certainly, as with so many things, would love for us to all be face to face so we could engage in that way and visit and have conversations. But the next best thing is a virtual conference, and so I'm happy that we've been able to pull this off. You're in line to hear a number of intelligent, creative, thoughtful leaders from throughout the state. Again, some of these being in the business community, some of these being in higher ed, some of these being in school systems and schools. And so we're excited about that lineup and are glad and honored that you chose to participate in this conference. Just a brief update on our attempts and successes to educate through a global health pandemic in Louisiana. We now have more devices than we have students in the state, more mobile devices than we have students. So that's really positive news. We have confirmed internet connectivity in the homes of about 3 out of 4 of our students. So we know that we have a long ways to go in terms of making sure that every child and family member across our state, every home rather, has access to high quality internet. And so we will continue to work on that with other agencies throughout the state, legislators. We know that in Louisiana, because you all have implemented some of the best mitigation efforts across this country, that we have been able to safely have school. Now, there have been times when we've had to take individual schools or school systems down for a period of time, but overall, as confirmed by our medical experts, our partners in this work, they continue to share that school is absolutely one of the safest places for our kids to be, especially with the mitigation efforts that you all have put in place. And further, schools have not been found to be centers of an outbreak or of outbreaks with COVID. And so we're very thankful for that. We continue to advocate from our office, along with other organizations who feel deeply committed to this as well, that we need to make sure that whenever we're thinking through access to the vaccine, that we are making sure that individuals who work in early child care centers, birth to 4, as well as individuals who work in our K-12 setting, whether that's educators, leaders, or staff members, have access to the vaccine in priority form. The reason we know that this is important is because probably even more than ever, people in our state recognize the importance that our schools play in our communities, and they understand and appreciate and recognize the fact that we need to have our early care centers for kids birth to 4, as well as our schools open, and the impacts that has. When we talk about access to the vaccine for this key group, it's also important because it cuts across every demographic in our state and also every region in our state, because we all know there are early care centers and schools across our entire state. So it's a great sample of the population to give vaccine access, just simply access to those who desire to be able to have that vaccine. I consistently share that, teachers, leaders are doing, heroes work every single day, doing God's work out in the field to make sure that kids are getting what they need to the best of their abilities in this unfortunate situation. I have encouraged individuals beyond the walls of the school to continue to give you grace, continue to be patient as we do our best to educate through this global health pandemic. And I believe that people have, and I've been thankful for that approach that people have taken and that attitude they've taken to us in Louisiana. I know that clearly being in a global health pandemic, it has made all of our jobs more difficult. And I think specifically about many of you whose work really in so many ways has previously required hands-on experience with students manipulating things, whether that's in a number of different settings and pathways. But I appreciate, again, you all finding ways to figure this out so that kids get what they need, because that's ultimately what we do as school people. We find a way to get get this done. Jumpstart has played an important role in the educational landscape of our state for several years now. We're excited about some of the revisions that have been made with Jumpstart 2.0 and the feedback we have heard from teachers, principals, counselors, assistant principals, as well as CTE supervisors and system leaders around some of the revisions that would be beneficial. We have made many of those, but we keep our ears open to hear if there are other important shifts that should be made in the future. So we're thankful for the place that Jumpstart has held, and it will continue to hold as we move forward. We're really excited as well, because a couple of weeks ago now we rolled out our initiative called Fast Forward. And many of you may have read about that. Many of you may have been part of the discussions around Fast Forward. But Fast Forward simply is a way to potentially rethink junior and senior year, a way to be even more deliberate around those 4 years of high school. And what are we doing to make sure that if a child graduates on May 15th, that on May 16th, they're ready for that next season of their life, whether that means going into the workforce, whether that means continuing their educational career at a higher ed institution, or whether that's going into some form of service field, whether it's ministry or military service or some other form of service. So we're excited about the Fast Forward initiative. Really, it has three different domains or three different buckets, in my opinion. The first being utilizing that junior and senior year to attain both your high school diploma, but also that associate's degree from one of our great community colleges throughout the state of Louisiana. The second bucket being using that junior and senior year duly enrolled in high school while being enrolled in a 4-year institution where students are working to get those first 2 years of that 4-year college degree. And then the third bucket, which might be the most interesting, certainly the most original bucket, is the opportunity to rethink junior and senior year so that students can participate and get moved towards and participate in a high demand apprenticeship, where they're able to get the skills that they need so that whenever they graduate high school, that they are at a certain level in terms of that apprenticeship, or that they have completed that apprenticeship and are ready to go directly into the workforce. All three of these domains, all three of these areas introduced by Fast Forward, none of them take the place of the current diploma options that are utilized in the state of Louisiana. They're simply additions to that. They're additional opportunities to personalize the high school experience for kids, to make it more flexible. And I think if we've learned, I know we've learned a number of things during the global health pandemic, one of them being the importance of a flexible and personalized school experience for our students. And so I think that, again, Fast Forward has the opportunity to do that. We are in the process right now of asking systems to consider their level of interest in applying for funding for seed grants that will enable them to collaborate with higher education institutions within their local community, whether those are community colleges or 4-year universities, or whether they'd like to partner with an organization that offers training in apprenticeships. And so we're hoping that we get a number of applications for that. We're hopeful to seed some money out to support that planning. And then beyond that, we're hopeful to be able to take to our state board additional options for a high school diploma as we move into next year. I appreciate the Board of Regents as well as our State Board of Education and the members there for their willingness to embark on consideration of additional opportunities for students. We know that we've come a long way, but we also recognize that we still have a long way to go. And through this Fast Forward initiative, we will learn more about the things that are working in our state, and we'll learn more about opportunities to continue to get better. So I'm really excited about this. It's something that as a district superintendent in both a rural suburban system in North Louisiana, and a large urban system in South Louisiana, I recognize that if I were to have had additional flexibilities for students in that junior and senior year, I would have been able to do different things to be able to help them and to prepare them to be successful. And those things, quite frankly, would have looked very different in both of those settings for me. But I can presently process out how I would utilize this Fast Forward initiative to get kids what they need within the local context of the school system. So I'm going to wrap up, and many of you are like, why is it taking so long to wrap up? But I want to wrap up and just say thank you for the work that you're doing. We are in many ways an example of how to have school in the face of a global health pandemic and an unusually active hurricane system that has also impacted Louisiana. So I thank you for that. I also know that we will be post-pandemic soon. I believe that. We are also rolling out a set of priorities this week that will shape our conversations, our actions, our resources as we move into a post-pandemic educational space in Louisiana. And as a native of this state, and as an educator who has invested my entire life working to help kids and my peers and colleagues across the state to do better for families and communities, I am thrilled to be in this work with you. While I have only served for 7 months, it does oftentimes feel like 7 years, and you all recognize that COVID time looks a little different and feels a little different than in a normal school year. So again, I'll wrap up just with that note I received from that counselor, and it may be a counselor on this call today, and that simply is, don't adapt to the energy of the room, but instead influence it. And I hope in some way my comments today, or certainly the actions that I've tried to display over my career, have in some way energized you. But I know this, we're all in this together, and we will get through all of this together. And I think Louisiana will ultimately be in a better place for our kids, educators, families, and communities. So thanks so much. Jessica, I'll turn this back over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Brumley. Next, I'd like to welcome Quinton Taylor with LCTCS and Nicholas Johnson with the TJC Group to make an announcement regarding the Jumpstart Construction Connect Scholarship. Quinton and Nicholas, the floor is yours.
Sure. So thank you so much, Jessica. Before I get started, I just want to say, as the husband of a public school teacher, first grade school teacher, and as the father of a second grade student, I really do want to echo Superintendent Brumley's comments about your resiliency, your commitment to ensuring that our young people can go to school and you all can go to work in safe environments. I really do appreciate that wholeheartedly. And so thank you so much for all that you do, because I do realize that without your work and your commitment, we would be in a much worse place than we are today. And so thank you so much for your commitment. And then secondly, I want to say to Superintendent Brumley, we appreciate your leadership. Speaking on behalf of the Louisiana Community and Technical College System, I can tell that there is a renewed sense of optimism around our collaboration and how important that's going to be to the future of this great state. And so thank you so much for you and your leadership and the team that you're assembling there at the Department of Education. And so Nicholas, I'll let you introduce yourself before I get started.
Hi, everybody. I'm Nicholas Johnson. I work for the TJC Group, as well as we do work with the LCEF Foundation, and we are happy to be partners with such a great and do great work and get this scholarship out, and we are happy to do this stuff, and I look forward to what it can do and who it can help and what we can do in the future with this kind of thing. So Quinton, pass it back to you.
All right, you got it. Thank you so much. So this very time last year, we were in person. We were all together down at the River Center, and we initially announced this scholarship opportunity that's known as the Jumpstart Construction Connect Scholars Program. And simply put, it is 40 $1,000 one-time scholarships for students who earn or who will earn a Jumpstart credential and a Louisiana high school diploma, and then subsequently enroll at any of the 12 Louisiana community and technical colleges, or an ABC, the Association of Builders and Contractors, Pelican chapter here in the Baton Rouge area. So it's a one-time scholarship. 40 students are eligible. Last year, we had 15 students to receive and earn that scholarship. I'm extremely happy and pleased to report to this group that all 15 of those students are still enrolled at our colleges. You all know that it's really important in terms of retention, that number one, that we provide opportunity and access to higher education, but then number two, that we ensure that those young people remain enrolled in school and on to completion. And so links to the application have already been sent out in the Counselor Connect newsletter, as well as the Department of Education's regular newsletter that goes out statewide. And you can also find the link to the scholarship on the website. Again, 40 scholarships. It is our hope that those students will take their Jumpstart credential as well as their high school diploma and then enroll in a construction-related program. Again, it's really big props and appreciation to the Louisiana Construction Education Foundation. They are the primary drivers behind this. They made a substantial investment, upward of $250,000 for us to go out and provide these scholarships and make them available to students. And then they've partnered with the community college system, and we are now applying for endowments to make that money last in perpetuity so students can have access to these great programs. And so with that, if you have any questions, by all means, you should reach out to Megan Thompson at the department, and she'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have. And so Jessica, I'll turn it back over to you.
Excellent. Thank you, Quinton and Nicholas, thank you, Quinton and Nicholas, and thank you, LCTCS and TJC Group, for your continued support of our students as they pursue their career goals. Thank you. So convention attendees, this is our 7th year hosting the convention and our first year convening virtually. Before we move to the first breakout session, I'd like to review logistics for the day. So prior to the convention, each of you had the opportunity to register for breakout sessions. And upon registering, you received Zoom links for each of your chosen sessions. Throughout the day today and tomorrow, you will access those links to attend your sessions at the scheduled time of the session. If you didn't register for breakout sessions, you can still stream a select group of sessions on the LDOE YouTube channel. So at this time, you will access breakout session day 1, session 1. If you have any questions, please email jumpstart@la.gov. And with that, have a wonderful Jumpstart convention.